The translation of let's is a big source of mistakes for French learners. So how do you usually translate it? You might know that it is the imperative form and that let translates into laisser. That's the verb laisser. So laisser at the imperative should be laissons, and that should work. Unfortunately, no, that's usually a mistake. I'm really sorry. So today, let's have a look at how to translate let's properly and a few exceptions as well, so you can use it in your everyday modern French. Let's go. Bonjour, I'm Géraldine, your French teacher. Welcome to Comme une Française. Today, like every Tuesday, I'm here to help you get better at speaking and understanding everyday modern French. C'est parti! Let's in English is the imperative form for the first person of plural for the verb after it. As in, let's dance. You're inviting people to actually dance. In French, you can just translate it with the imperative with nous for that second verb, which is dance in the example. The French imperative for danser with nous here is absolutely simple. It's like the present tense. So for danser, which is to dance, we would do nous dansons, you remove the nous and you have dansons. This is the translation for let's dance. Let's dance is actually dansons. So as you saw with the example, if you use let's and another verb, don't use laissons to translate your let's here. You just have to use the imperative form. You don't have to translate the let's into laisser, which is actually the right translation, which means to let or to leave. It's not a big mistake, but it's something that I've seen over the past 8 years that I've been teaching French, and honestly, it's okay to make mistakes in French, but I know that my students who are actually watching Comme une Française every week want to make less mistakes. So I'm going to show you examples where you can actually translate it differently in a more everyday French. But this idea of not translating this let's into laissons is going to make you avoid 99% of the mistakes linked to this translation of let's in French. The first exception where you can actually use laissons is when you're actually talking about leaving something. So for example, laissons-le tout seul, laissons-le tout seul is let's leave him alone. But the whole purpose of that is to leave him alone. So this is where you can use laissons. When I say don't use laissons, I don't say never ever use it, but it is a very common mistake when students want to translate let's. The second exception is when you're using the negative, because it might come out a bit abruptly. So you can use ne dansons pas when you want to say let's not dance. Ne dansons pas is the right way to actually say something negative in the imperative. Let's not dance, ne dansons pas. But it's a bit formal and a bit abrupt. So in everyday life, you would use another expression, another kind of sentence. For example, pas la peine de danser. It's not worth dancing. Pas la peine de danser. Dancing is not worth it. Pas la peine de danser. Or, depending on the context, évitons de danser. Évitons de danser. Let's avoid dancing. So as you can see here, we translate this let's differently depending on the context of the sentence. And the third one is my favorite because this is where students struggle the most, even though it's really simple and it can help them speak so much better. It's the translation for let's go. Let's go translates into allons-y, which is something that you probably learned at school, but it's by far not my favorite way to say it. I would say on y va or c'est parti instead. They sound much better to me. On y va or c'est parti. Finally, if you want to answer a question with this let's that you would answer in English, you can use French expressions such as oui, super, or bonne idée, great idea, good idea, bonne idée. For example, et si on allait dîner? Bonne idée. Et si on allait dîner? Bonne idée, which is a translation for let's actually do it. And if you want to dive in a little bit more into what we saw today, you should check out the imperative, all the rules and the exceptions, and also lots of things about s'en aller, which gives you another angle on the idea of to leave or to let. So click on the screen right here. You're going to have another playlist with these 2 lessons. I will see you in the next video. À tout de suite.